The Court of Public Opinion is a part of the Amateur Radio Network.
There's a new sun rising. minutes into David Knight's time, and then I called in a famous special forces operator who had already told me about this stuff like a year ago, who's been involved in a bunch of operations, and I can't get into names, just to confirm all the other stuff we're working on. And then he's sitting there in my office, and then he made the joke, though, I'm not going to tell you everything, Alex, because you can't help it. You're going to blabber no matter what, even though you say you're not giving up sources. The point is there's a whole war against these pedophiles going on, and just the giant trafficking and the 3,000 plus arrests and all of it. So I'm going to give Craig Sawyer the floor in the next 12 minutes. And then I'm going to have David Knight come in there for another 6-7 minutes and ask his questions. I'm going to be gone. So I got to go literally walk in here on this other meeting. But I know this. The president wants to go after these people. It's happening. It's really scaring them. We've got our reporters out in the field in California. But Craig Sawyer, former Navy SEAL, contractor, federal officer, you name it, Discovery History Channel show, you name it. He is been aware of this. His sources are aware of this. But instead of just rescuing the people or getting the cops with 3,000 bucks, there needs to be coverage. The missing link is coverage. And then I get my other source sitting in the room next door, a great guy, is like, yeah, but Alex, then that tells them how we're getting them. I know, but we need to then expose it to bring it all down. So I'm not saying I have all the answers. What is the alchemy that brings those two together? The info war, proving, documenting, just like we did with Susan Rice, that just happened through our great work of Patriots and other things we're working on. Because if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, doesn't make a sound. I'm not saying anybody's wrong or right here. We're all moving in the right direction. I never give up sources, but at the same time, we've got to tell them we're coming for them. They already know we're coming for them, and that's why Craig Sawyer joins us. He got big hits from his intel sources, obviously, in agencies across the board, that we've got people self-identifying, panicking. So this is a big day. Craig, wow, just the last 5-6 days, all hell's breaking loose. They're really scared of you and others in your team. Let's tell folks what's been unfolding.
Well, I got to admit, I'm flattered that such big groups are that concerned about little old me and my team. And all we're about is exposing that which has been so successfully suppressed for so long. So, high-level source of mine said that internet chatter right now is, since I launched the organization to help expose this pedophilia ring going on nationwide, globally actually, but we're focused here in the United States. There's two specific groups already out there freaking out, panicking, worried about me and what I bring, which is exposure, and looking to discredit us. So they got three initial things that they want to come at us for, and it's not a surprise. We knew that this would be par for the course. We anticipated and expected this as standard, to be honest with you, in the political realm. So, but the first thing they want to do is discredit our crowdfunding or our funding, whichever method we do. And then they want to bring legal attacks, whatever that may be. And then they want to smear me, bring, false slanderous attacks against me. So I say, hey, bring it, man. That's what we signed up for. This is coming. We're not going to shut up. We're not the kind of guys that get scared and go away, man. I surrounded myself by guys that I've known for a long time that are anything but scared. So we're ready, come what may. And
well, let me say this.
Do, again, is expose the harm to children that has been kept quiet.
Let me say this. We've got a fellow here that's been involved in the rescues and things that are going on today who isn't going to go in public because he thinks that'll give them tactics and stuff. I think they already know we're coming for him, but I'm going to have that discussion in about 10 minutes, and I'm going to turn it over to you for another 10 minutes or so with David Knight. But I heard from my friend who's here today, he heard Glenn Beck, and I checked with my source. Glenn Beck came out and said his number one goal will be to stop pedophilia and sex slavery in America, and he's going to lead it with some group called the Underground Railroad. Well, I'm not going to bash that group. I asked my source, is that a good group? He goes, no, it's a total diversion. Now, I'm not bashing anybody that's worked with it or hasn't worked with it. The point is, I work with the real people that are actually involved. 3,000 arrests, they're finding the kids, they're finding all the sex slavery, and then nothing is ever in the news after it. So regardless, the point is, Glenn Beck himself represents himself as a patriot. He always comes in to take over anything we're doing so he can then discredit it later. And I'm not going to bash Glenn on every front. Maybe he's decided to stop being a bad guy. Maybe Underground Railroad's great. All I can tell you is the people I'm working with, and Craig Sawyer and others, most of them unnamed, are 100% on target. And I just asked my other source, I thought I'd call him in because I heard about this from, again, a year ago, 6 months ago. He was going on missions all over the world. I said, is Craig Sawyer good? He goes, oh, absolutely, of course. So the point is we're just vetting all of this because, the fact is the enemy's got infiltrators in here.
Yeah, that's one of their tactics. The classic honeypot technique and other operations that they run. They want to find out on the inside what we're doing and cause a disruption. Because look, they are murdering and torturing children to death. So how are they going to defend that to any sane human being? So if I bring an honest effort with a clean background toward them to simply tell the truth, that's a real threat to what they're doing. So what can they do? All they can do is run around, throwing smoke and trying to divert and distract and hide. But this time it's not going to go away. There's no place to hide. We're going to bring this. We've got a president that'll back us, a DOJ that'll back us, that's not all about pedophilia for once. And it looks like we've got everything that we need, minus the funding. The funding's coming, and we appreciate everybody that's rallying behind us. But our thing, and we're not competing with any of the other groups out there for how many busts or territory or anything like that. What my organization is about is exposure. And we can coordinate with and even assist the other units.
No, I totally agree.
Telling the tale.
In fact, I didn't bring up this other group in Glenn Beck because I don't know them. I just know Beck's a bad actor. And then the other group I mentioned to somebody, and they go, oh, my God, absolutely, just a total diversion. I'm not saying they're bad. They just are all talk. But then I asked my other sources, well, is Craig Ray? He goes, oh, absolutely. So all I'm getting is it's not about who donates money where. I'm not making any money off this. I'm giving my money. You're giving your money, Craig. It's all about funding this operation to do the final missing link. Exactly. You have the law enforcement military ready to cover it, ready to show you the findings when it's not getting covered by media, when the bust happened. We're about bringing real sunshine to this, proving how widespread it is. And I know you can't get into sources and methods and things, but let's talk about this type of stuff we're witnessing. You wouldn't get into it Sunday. Can you tell people a little bit?
Well, again, we don't want to let them know too much about what we're doing, what's going on, but what we're watching, and we've got access to federal and local law enforcement to observe and participate in what's going on, and again, tell it to the American public. And the reason we are striking such fear into the hearts of the two groups specifically that are panicking right now at the launch of Veterans for Child Rescue.
Can we say the name? It's the
one is the Muslim Brotherhood. Now they self-identified. I never mentioned the Muslim Brotherhood as we're going after them, because we're not going after them.
And what Craig just laid out for all of you is exactly what's been going on for the last 32 years. You have a campaign to discredit, and I do not think that discrediting doesn't come with destroying your career, your reputation, your family, your relationships with everyone you know. That's the real deal. That is what I personally have confronted. That's what most of you have personally confronted. For 32 years, we have dealt with this. All these phony groups all saying they're going to help the family. They're going to help the children. And what do? They spend the majority of the time, you know them or have worked with them to discredit you. That's bigger than you even see. Those aren't just cheap words. Those words actually have real meaning, real stories. Nothing like trying to do something that is actually earned some real credit. This audio deserves the credit it deserves. But there is a campaign to silence anyone who's trying to do something right for a change. And that's not just that. There are great big people behind doing something so hideous. And hideous is understand. There are people that if they were on the other side of this issue and they knew who they were discrediting and they knew what they were doing, they would shut their pie hole. I mean that. They would not be doing what they're doing. If they had any idea how long they've been a part of discrediting real operation, real people who are really making a difference, what a difference their lives would be. If they gone on the right side of this issue and they said, I am a part of discrediting these people, you're doing nothing to help the situation. When you sit around and tell around that you've helped people when you know you haven't, when these guys and people like myself who personally have risked everything, we've risked our whole lives. No, listen, I was 14 years old. I didn't know what I was walking into, but you make a decision right there and then that you know this is going to be a lifelong struggle, or at some point in your life you realize that. I didn't recognize how big this was until I was sat down with family who really explained to me what we were confronting. I mean, my own dad, everyone, and he was a Marine, and but I already had lived it, so they didn't have to school me. I could school a lot of people when it came to this issue. I knew the danger and the risk, and now these people are facing it. They're facing greater risk by not saying anything. The risk, once you are in it, you have no say. You either going to do something to change it or you're not. And the fear that came with not saying anything, the fear of not just sitting back and idle, just you're good. It's going to force you to make a decision. There are so many issues, the moral depravity that someone would have to do incredible evil to children. I mean, we're looking at so many different fronts on this. So obviously they're going to shut your channel down. They're going to discredit you personally. They're going to discredit you, all the work you've ever done. They're going to question everything you do. But those aren't the people that faced it face to face. They didn't see what we saw. They do not know what we heard with our own ears. So they can go ahead with their conniving and lying. I don't know what else to say, because at the end of the day, you're not free. You're not really free until you find out and you walk through this. I can rest a lot easier knowing that we did not sit down silently and shut our mouths. And you know what? I don't know how anyone could. I don't know how anyone morally with any kind of couth, any kind of value for themselves and for basic humanity. Basic life. To me, it's so basic. Life matters. Why do you have to explain that? Because they force us to have some kind of rebuttal. Listen, we come from a place of offense. I don't have to defend my point. It's obvious that when people live quality lives, that they benefit in every area of their life, including their health and their friendships. And you know what? You might lose some people in your life along the way who weren't there to support you to begin with. You know, it wouldn't have mattered how wonderful and great you are. It doesn't matter how some people are not going to be there for you. They're not going to get you. You're not going to have your back. Maybe because they have personal reasons. Maybe they don't like you. But you know what? At the end of the day, you still make a decision that you're still going to do the right thing. You know, that the value of yourself in your life really, really starts to become smaller when you think how big our God is. God is so great and he's so big. Do you really think all these ugly secrets are being exposed because we exposed them? No, we have a big God. He is sick and tired. He is doing this, and they're crazy. The people are going out of control. They don't want their lie, or they don't want this out. And there are some people who've been victims that don't want this out because of the very fear of the, what do they call it, retaliation. I mean, it's quite honestly the hardest thing to confront personally. Again, I was never the same person. And then when I heard the story about the 4-year-old boy that got some kind of justice, he may not have the justice that, of reversing what happened to him. But when I read those articles, and I'm posting this link below about the very case that I'm talking about, I mean, once a 4-year-old boy is robbed of this, his life is really not ever the same. And now he's much older now, and his family took the person to court, and in the end, did they really get justice? I don't know yet. I mean, I'm hoping with the help of working with representatives and senators that help, that we can finally put an end to that too. I mean, that was going on for 32 years. So, walking into something like that, not even recognizing that we played a small role in changing somebody's life. And, God knows what could have happened. But I have to tell you, there are families, there are relatives that I know, they are not here. They are not here to see that what people like Craig and Alex Jones and so many people are doing to change this. And, I think the only hope for America is this. If we don't fix this, it wouldn't matter the same people are going to end up being in power again. When you win a battle, you don't win it part way. You make sure you win. You make sure you win every way possible. But as far as people discrediting you, and as far as your friends ditching you, and that's going to happen. That's why you find out who's your really team, who's really behind you, the ones that are solid. And listen, they're not going to throw you under the bus. They're going to be out there being your advocate. They're going to be the ones that are going to, in the very end of this, they're going to have your back. When you realize that they recognize that this is the fight in America, this is the front line, like we've been saying before, don't count these people out. How many times do I listen to some of you? You're ready to throw it all under the bus. Oh no, this battle is going to take a different directions, and you're seeing it firsthand. I know some of you were discouraged. It's obvious. You want to think that everybody's out to get, sell out. Unfortunately, for this, that we've had so many sellouts that would be typical. It's obvious there are people that are going to sell people out. We're seeing it every day, but guess what? Your team's still winning. Didn't we not say that? Did we not say that if you hang out and you wait, the people are going to start winning these battles? And we're winning now. And now what? We can't. There's a point to gathering evidence, and then there's a point to cleaning up the mess. And I will say this, that I personally, and I know some of you can vouch for this, we have never seen this kind of response by military. Never. They've been sending our military out to fight wars. The very people that have been sending us and been doing this in the backdrop, we're actually finally doing something to change the direction, helping orphans. That is not a bad thing. Helping families in crisis because of this kind of thing, that's not a bad thing. And not faking it, not throwing those very families that are vulnerable under the bus. Yeah, sticking with the families and saying, we're here for you. We're here for you. And we're not going to let you down. And keeping in touch with them and saying, this is how good relationships start. I had a teacher in 8th grade who pulled me aside before we ended up having to go to court over the matter that I was talking about, referring to. And you know what? I knew I had a friend in him. Listen, I know people change over time. I know people, but the one thing is, if they're going to spend their time discrediting hard work, they're not aware of fully what they're confronted or what we confronted. They're not fully aware, or they wouldn't be doing that. If they were any kind of decent friend or family or boyfriend or girlfriend or ex, they wouldn't be taking all their time and investing in discrediting us. So while they're going to silence the YouTube channels like mine, they're going to silence us. You should expect that. That's the tactic. If they're going to call us names and tear up our reputation, I expect that. But at the end of the day, we're winning this battle. At the end of the day, we're winning. That's going to make a difference. That's changing America. That's called really doing something. That's called fixing the problems that these monsters created. And if you want the monsters in charge and you don't want us, you got to pick and decide. You're going to have to choose. If you're going to take your time to discredit me, guess what? That's a couple points for the monsters. And I want to tell you, always winning against those monsters. Okay, everyone wins. Everyone wins. They're destroying people, and they're doing who knows what incredible evil. See, many people talk about the things they've seen on the internet. The things on the internet are probably not quite to what is really going on. You're only getting like a piece, a very small piece. So Listen, I'm watching people just disappear from our lives because, they don't want anything to do with this. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to associate with this either. You should be disgusted that your very close friends and family have had to watch this or witness this. And I'm telling you, when I heard that and I witnessed it myself, you would all think differently about life. You would see life in a you wouldn't be calling us crazy. You wouldn't be calling us names. The very reason I had a relatively normal life till this event. It changed me. They wanted to tell us that we needed therapy. We were crazy. I almost expected. It's sad, though, because even while people said that, we knew what was going on. We knew what we were confronting, okay? We knew what kind of people we're dealing with. I realized that some of them will never, ever be able to recover the relationship for us completely. But I have to tell you, at the end of the day, if they really think through and they're going to look down the road, they realize what a difference this is going to make. They're going to realize that they were on the wrong side of this issue. And how unfortunate is that? That's pretty unfortunate. You're on the wrong side of the issue again. What can you say? I don't know what to say to somebody like that. You're on the wrong side of the issue. You're on the wrong side of the issue. If you had my back, if you had the backing of the people that I'm friends with and close with and tight with, you would think totally different about that. You wouldn't have time for criticism. You wouldn't have time to slander us or call us names. We wouldn't even took the time to entertain it. Because you know what? At the end of the day, we have honor, man. Well, I'll put on a uniform and risk my life. Okay, I have honor, and a lot of people want to take that away from us and tell us that it's not good enough for them. You know what? Try to tell that to the little kids that we've helped escape this abuse. And we're not talking about just talking about it. We physically put our lives on and physically are willing to put our uniforms on or physically ready to do something because we know if life really isn't going to be of any value if we can't do that much, if we can't show that American people, that our soldiers, people like me who wear our uniform, we're not just talking about it. We're actually doing something. We're not just giving you armchair politics, okay? We're not going to just give it to you lightly. We're not here to entertain a lot of those people with their, sure, you can make a comparison. You went to Iraq. You have not been on this battlefield. You cannot make that comparison. You cannot make that comparison that you're taking your kids and you think every day you're taking a risk, taking them to public school. And you're not even willing to weigh out the risk. You're not even willing. You'll turn this right off too. And maybe by the time you realize and recognize what you're willing to give up and what you're willing to throw away, then maybe you might be able to recognize what a difference this is going to make. This is the game changer. This is how America changes. You want to have hope for America? This is your hope. Anything else, it won't matter. It's just the way it is. So they're going to have to decide at some point whose side they're on, And yeah, you have to take sides. On this one, you have to. This is the battle between good and evil. And I'm on the side of good. And I know there's a lot of people on the side of good. No matter how much you slander us, no matter how much you talk about us behind our back, no matter how much, you have to decide whose side you're on. And I know which side I'm on. I'm on the side of God. I'm on the side of good. I don't have too much time to criticize somebody who's trying to make a difference.